I know a lot of things are happening in the country as we speak. Yesterday, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, went ahead to present the budget and all that, which is going to be a talk for another day actually, because we will do a strong breakdown on it. But for today, we'll be looking at something quite very vital actually, which has to do with consumer protection in Nigeria. Looking at it, the National Assembly are looking for means to, caution many private businesses that are exploiting citizens in Nigeria. If you are very observant about the NASS meetings last week, you will discover that Senator Adams Uchenna came out to talk about some of the exploitations of even discos, who happens to be the distribution companies in the power sector. And this is not just only about the discos, we're looking holistically at many other acts that is injurious to consumers in Nigeria. To discuss with us today, we have an economist, is also a social commentator, and the person of Alphonsus Uchenna, who to discuss with us today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, one of the things we look at there is that actually Nigeria has consumer laws, consumer protection laws and all that. But many people have observed that so far, despite the fact that there are many consumer laws in Nigeria, implementation is kind of a problem as we speak. I was shocked when I was seeing the statement of Senator Adams Oshiomhole on the floor of the Senate last week, talking about even some acts by discos in trying to sabotage their influence, looking at the fact that even some of the things they are supposed to be doing, which is supposed to be a part of their services, they are not doing it and still expecting people to pay for the service, which is not just the reality of discos but many other private owners in Nigeria. Why do you think private owners, despite the fact that they know Nigeria has consumer laws like the Consumer Act of 1992, that of 2018, even a body that is focused on protecting consumer like the FCCPC, yet they still exploit citizens in Nigeria? What do you think is the main problem of this?
Thank you very much, my brother. The problem lies on consumers themselves, in the sense that the laws that protect consumers, they are real, they are there. They are laws that have been enacted to protect consumers from being exploited. But the fact remains that how many of our consumers out there are very much aware about this law? That is the main issue actually. I would say 70% of consumers in Nigeria are not aware. Those that are aware might have this attitude of saying, probably I don't want to waste my time over this, this idea of let's leave it for God. It's really painful most often, because at times when I'm having a kind of interaction with people and I see somebody that has been exploited, or probably somebody that has been cheated, and that person is expected to take a legal means, seeking for redress. When I said that, I said, you better leave it for God. Who has that time? Who has that time to go and pay a lawyer? You don't need to pay a lawyer. There are activists over there waiting for us to come around. So the main problem is our consumers, Nigerian citizens, they are not really aware. So therefore, there should be serious enlightenment. There should be serious sensitization about laws that protect them as consumers. And because of this, you see producers, sellers, organizations, they are really exploiting us, taking us for granted. But because we are not enlightened. And that is the problem we are having as far as our country is concerned when it comes to issues that has to do with consumers protection. And other issues as well like that. So that is where the problem is.
That is, you're looking at the awareness of citizens.
Of course, they are not.
Can we say awareness, or just a kind of, is it religious belief? I cannot say a norm on the society, because I know, even down to drugs, there are times I can send someone over to go get, even when I was younger, I might want to go buy a drug, and when I get home, they say, no, this is not the one I asked for. Go back to change it. And you get back, no, we cannot change it for you. This is not the drug I asked for. Should I use something injurious for me? Is a problem. Even down to food, even down to things you see already, marketers already tell you, no, there is no redress. There are some products some of us buy, we will see 10 years warranty, 1 year warranty. Now, in 1 year, the thing developed faults. I'm taking it back to them. They will tell me
something has happened.
That maybe it's my fault and all that. I don't know. Which do we say is the problem? Is it the norms or the fact that the citizens are just normally just out of it?
It is the fact that citizens are not very much aware about this. On a more serious note, because this law, like I told you, they are real, they are there, they have been enacted. But the fact remains that, well, when citizens get exploited, they don't know their rights. And they said when you are not informed, definitely you'll be deformed. So how there we have good number of people who are deformed, who doesn't even know their rights. I think that is one of the reasons why lately some subjects in secondary schools, probably in primary schools, came up, citizenship education, or what do you call it, civic education. The reason why they have to bring up those subjects or those courses is to enlighten consumers. Even apart from the fact that what we are enlightening, did they even put it into practice? This issue of consumer protection, I think the last time I heard about that was my secondary school. When we were taught in commerce. That's the last time I heard about it being where they taught us. But because I'm actually in the trains of business administration, I know what the law says. And somebody like me, I don't take it for granted. Let me give you an example. There was a time, I wouldn't want to mention name, of one of the popular eateries here those days. I sent somebody to go get me food with chicken. The person came back with it. I tell you, the chicken is spoiled. No one can eat it. It was quite very obvious. And I asked the person to return. He said, no, they will not take it. He's an adult.
Wow.
He said, no, they cannot take it. Oh, they cannot take it from me. No, you have to. I said, no, you have to go back. He insisted I cannot go. I have to say, let's go together. I forced him, he went there. They have no option than to collect it from me. Probably they saw my approach. They are very much aware. Oh, this guy is very much aware about his right. Because consumer protection stipulates that all consumers must be protected from being exploited.
Yeah.
Not just exploitation, even misinformation.
Misinformation.
The generality of all these things to guide consumers is what? You must enjoy maximum satisfaction for whatsoever you are procuring. That is what the law stipulates. And that is why if you look at the concept of production, its main purpose is what? Is to satisfy human wants. It's not producers' want. Because there's also a law that guides producers. There's a law that guides sellers, which you cannot even alter it. It's for profit maximization. If they are there to maximize their profits, then those who are actually enjoying the services should enjoy what we call maximum satisfaction as well. So if you are trying to breach this, that means they are liable to be sued. But the fact remains that how many of our consumers are very much aware about this? They are not. If I'm paying you for service, I should enjoy maximum satisfaction for the service I'm paying you. This even boils down to these petty Okada riders out there. We had negotiation. I am going to so place. It was well defined, clearly stated. So on the road, you said the road is bad, you cannot go again. And you expect me to pay you. Is that not very irritating? And when you start dragging with people, they'll say, bros, your own is too much.
I think that your own is too much.
What is the issue?
I was looking at this food critic, Ogbe. I was checking his Twitter page, and he was talking about something. It was recently, this past week. You know, it was at an hotel, and at the hotel, he discovered that it's a 4-star hotel. As a 4-star hotel in a particular state in Nigeria, I think that was Delta State. In a 4-star hotel, you should at least have water, running water, proper, and all that. There was no running water there. They had to go and be getting. They got them water every morning, and the staffs, nobody was talking about it. And the fact that he was talking about it, people were looking at him as if his own problem is too much. And it's like, I'm paying for this. I'm paying close to 50,000 a night. I desire my comfort. And many Nigerians were still the one coming out to say his own is too much. Let's look at the issue of, let's say, Very Dark Man. Very Dark Man came out against many of these people that sells skincare products. You know, sometimes you might think your skincare is, but this and all that. And he was tackling them, saying that you don't have NAFDAC number because NAFDAC is one of the bodies that is supposed to protect those citizens in the place of. Well, one of the things I discovered that maybe lately they haven't been up and doing like in the times of Dora of course, and all that. And when Very Dark Man came out, the same people still took him to court the same Nigerians still said his own is too much, and we are fighting against him. Now, I don't know. Is there something in our mentality that makes it that way?
From this scenario, like I told you in the first place, when they was told your own is too much, I know close friends of mine who said, come, if you cannot stay in Nigeria, you better go to where all these things will work. Where all these things will work. Because on a personal note, I am always very mad at little exploitation. I look at it as if you are playing on my intelligence. Look at the situation whereby I bought a bunch of plantain, negotiated with the woman, we had a compromise, we agreed price. The man said he cannot take transfer. Okay, let me just cross the other side of the road to get cash. Before coming back, the plantain has been packaged. And I carried on getting home. I discovered vividly that the plantain has been reduced. The woman took some. I'm very, very convinced about that. And I was making plan to drive. I don't even mind how much it will cost me. Because I hate that. I was making plan to go back. Then a friend of mine called at that point in time, and I was trying to share with the scenario with the person. He said, that's why you want to go back to that market now and burn your fuel. I said, is there anything wrong about that? I said, come on. Can you see? I said, come on, you don't have to. Just leave it like that. And that is the problem. That is the point. That's the point. On a more serious note, I don't know if there's going to be any means. I don't know. See, I don't know those who will be in charge of that. Probably National Orientation Agency. I don't know if it's their duty to
the Nigeria Commission and all of them
design a clearly defined means of sensitizing our consumers. Because on the more serious note, they have been exploited, and a good number of them have died because of this. Especially when it comes to drugs, when it comes to food, whereby and a special one is this issue of misinformation.
Misinformation, which is very, 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 very
misinformation. It has gone viral on social media. They tell you this soap will work for this thing will do for this.
Especially advertisements.
On a more serious note, it is wrong.
And we have in Nigeria.
This will do work for this too. At the end of the day, your expectation is when I buy this to work for me.
And actually, according to the law, we have the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) Act of 2003. This act regulates the telecommunications industry and protects consumers' rights in the sector, because consumers to have rights to, valid information.
Of course,
yes. Tell me what this thing is going to do and it's not doing it. I should be able to, go back to you and all that.
Sure.
Though thanks to people like Very Dark Man, actually, VDM, who came out recently and made even some of these our influencers refund money to people because of acts like this. Let's focus on the power sector and some vital issues that Oshiomhole raised. Actually, he talked about the fact that in Nigerian power sector, the way it goes in the Nigerian power sector, we have the GENCOs, which is majorly supervised by the governments themselves, and we have the TRANSCOs, the transmission companies. Then we have the DISCOs who distribute. The DISCOs is majorly privatized and all that. And being privatized, he was talking about the fact that how will it make sense that I'm the one to buy the transformer, I'm the one to buy the cables, I will have to pay you for connection, I will have to pay you for even the transformer, and at the end of the day I will still have to pay you for your duties. Whereas if it's a privatized company, the major service you should be offering is the place of the transformers and the cables before we get to this. Now, people immediately make this statement. A lot of people began to talk on, just like how came about not to talk about the police, and other people came out to begin to talk about brutalities they've experienced from the police. Same way people came out to talk a lot about the exploitations of the discos. I don't know, maybe you had your own personal experience with
of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Let's hear your own experience first.
Of course, yes. Before I share my own experience, let me say this as a kind of a review of related literature about issues like this that happened years back. I know when the issue of privatization came up in the power sector, on a personal note, by the virtue of my opinion then, I stood against this. I said it did not work. And I have my colleague then who said, no, it will work, it's better. At least we enjoy the service. I know at this point in time they are watching me. Probably a good number of them will be opportune to watch. I'm reminding them. Now what I said is still happening as far as this country is concerned, whereby every system is diluted. None of the system is working. You see, if government handles most of these sectors, especially power sectors, it becomes what? It becomes a public corporation or public enterprises. It will be run, financed by still our money, taxpayers' money. And at that point in time, it's not really as if we don't pay for some of these services. We also pay for those services at a reduced cost. But the duty And their own obligation then is to render essential services.
Yeah.
It is called essential services to members of the public. That's the way it should be. But when the idea of privatization comes up, though it was the fact that, okay, they will be able to render that services vividly, very well, unlike the loopholes that you've been seeing when it was being run by the government. But that is not a problem. That is not the solution to that. It's just that most of the policy we enact, most of the principles we bring up in Nigeria, they are actually directed towards, like I used to say, moving a step forward and 10 steps backward. And that is what is really happening now. It's a matter of identify those loopholes and look at how it can be solved at the benefit of the customer. This thing really lies on consumers, because whatsoever you are doing, like I used to say, whatsoever principle, whatsoever laws you are enacting as our political leaders, it should be at the interest of the public. What you see is turning upside down. It's really turning upside down. Look at how much we are paying for electricity bill. It's on the high side. Does it really complement the services they are supposed to do? It doesn't complement the services. And there is nothing you can do. Even the manner of approach, when you are even making your complaints, you'll be wondering, these are private sector. They should dance to our tune.
And not we dancing.
Not we dancing to our tune. I am paying for the services. How do you expect me to buy materials for you? It's quite irritating. From my own personal experience, even as this morning, a neighbor of mine still discussed this with me. Just discussed which issue with me. Ever since we procured prepaid meters in our compound, it has been a disaster. It has been a serious disaster. And could you believe, each time I invite them, the officials, to come troubleshoot or solve the problem at hand, I will pay. I must pay them
to just
on the name of their transport fare. In the name as transport fare, but I must pay them. If I don't, they will not come. They're just to dribble you here. You walk severally. I drove there severally. Until I have to do what others does by giving them something. That is when they will come. Even before they will come, they waste the whole day. You'll be expecting them coming. I'm here. It's always very irritating. And at the end of the day, when they come, you just see one young boy who cannot even approach you. So this is the person I'm waiting for, because I want to enjoy these basic services that should be given to me by the government. I heard the presentation Oshomole made. It was a very brilliant one. When I heard that, to myself, I said, oh, I'm beginning to like Adams Oshomole again. Like when he was still the chairman of NLC. Yeah. Because at one point, I disliked him because of some funny things he's playing in the APCs. But when I had that presentation, I said, oh, he's a very good representative. He's really doing well at the Senate. The presentation was very, very brilliant, and that is just the fact. I took my time, I listened to all the analysis he made. Each point was very, very sensitive, and that is what is happening. That's what is happening. A community does not hold a transformer. It should be your property. These are amenities, these are social amenities you have to provide some services which you want. And that is what is happening. The worst part of it, that this transformer will get fault. They will steal some. You think it's just ordinary person who goes there to steal any or some of the elements there?
Because it has to be someone who knows about it. It has to be somebody who knows that to steal something.
They will come steal, and they will expect you to buy what has been stolen. It's not as if when you buy it becomes your own property. It's still their own property. That is exploitation in the highest order. Then my concern is this, because it's very, very. When I hear this, when this happening, it pains me a lot. My question is this: we have to continue like this, so nobody can say anything. Nobody's going to talk. So we just have to follow that trend. No wonder they said Nigeria is a lawless country, and it has to stop. I think there are ways at which, thank God, it was raised in the chamber. Thank God it was raised. I hope that it will be they will streamline it, and all of us will follow suit, and those people concerned will do the needful, because it's quite obvious. Everything in there should be provided by them, not we asking. Now, some months back, I was called from one of our house in Akure. He said, "Oh, the pole is bad. We have to contribute and buy pole."
Pole.
Yes. Imagine.
Pole.
Yes, and we have to contribute. Those people who are attached to that pole, we have to contribute money and buy that pole. If I say the number, they say your own is too much, others has contributed.
We have not
But the fact
contributed.
remains that what it is not our responsibility to buy. We are paying for these services. We are paying for these services. It's not really as if you want to vacate, we go with Apple. You see their property. So a lot needs to be done in that really aspect. Because what we are actually paying for, there is no complement of the service we are to enjoy.
So what role does the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission in addressing consumer grievance related to disco? How can they help? Like, how would they help?
Like
in
the
implementing?
NERC,
Yes.
the regulatory bodies.
In fact, you see the issue between the discos and the regulatory body,
Yes.
I think is more or less the same issue that is happening, is a twin issue that is happening between the executive arm of government and the legislative. They know their duty.
Okay.
They know their duty. They know they are the one to defend the poor masses, the public, the citizens. They know they are the one to defend them. The fact remains that you and I know this. That at the end of probably at intervals or probably in this festive period, discos will pay them visits to give them what we call benefit in kind. And that is why most sectors are not really performing, or they are not really exhibiting the role at which they have been established. And that is clearly what is happening. It's as simple as this. If I'm occupying a position and I'm serving as a watchdog for you, I'm serving as a watchdog for you at the interest of the masses. And I say you are doing bad. You are not doing. In fact, before you start implementing, you look for a way of making me a very good friend of yours.
Exactly.
Probably you come with bags of rice, fat envelopes for me. Say, take this, my chairman, this and this and that, this and that. And if I fall to the trap by collecting all these things, who am I to come and say, oh, you are not doing
You can
your
never
work?
question me immediately after that. What's our pay?
That is the point. That is actually what is happening there. And that is what's happening in these sectors. And these things is standing against consumers. I don't know how factual this is. I don't really know how factual it is, but it was part of the rumor that blew out some times ago when some youth in a particular community rebelled against the Benin, what do you call it?
BEDC.
Company, BEDC, rebelled against them for poor services. I heard that they went to those people concerned actually went to the king to make this report, and the king said it's a business venture. I don't know which of the king actually. I said the king said it's a business venture. They are doing their business. Then information we had that this the chairman of BDC, of course, and that is applicable what is happening. They say what did they used to call it? There's a way they call it that I don't know. There's a term they use. They will go and see some dignitaries in the name that they are paying homage, just for them to have free operation at the expense
Of the people.
And that is why that answers the question we have been raising. Why is that nobody is talking, nobody is saying anything? Those who are supposed to speak for us, they are not saying
very
anything.
Quiet.
Then who are you to come out and say something? If I should come out and say something, probably at the end of the day I will land myself in the police custody.
Exactly.
Then before I will pick my call to call very dark man to come to my rescue. Oh, that happened to me.
That's one of the funny thing actually, that is even the citizen actually that is even fighting for the rights of the
That does
citizens. When in the actual sense we have a lot of laws are actually attached to this. If you go down, you're going to see that we have the Consumer Protection Council Act of 1992, which says that the act is established for Consumer Protection Council CPC, which is responsible for protecting consumer rights and interest. We also have the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act. We also have the Nigerian Communications Commissions Act. We have the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control Act of 1993. Lots of it are there with many bodies that are there to protect many of our acts and all that, because as a consumer you have right to information, you have right to safety, you have rights to choose, you have rights to be heard, you have rights to even redress. That is, in case your product is not good for me, I beg, take back. But we'll go deeper into many of those things after this break, because we want to go for Go Starts that is going to inspire you and motivate you for the day. Maybe from Go Starts, ideas can also come up your head to also build, maybe like a very dark man to also to fight for the rights of people actually, and maybe how to go about your business. time to go back to our discussion. We're still discussing about consumer protection in Nigeria, and looking at the fact that the National Assembly is looking for means to, pend and control the exploitation of the citizens by private business owners in Nigeria. But then I wanted to even ask something about the discos and all. Looking at it, the fact that there is this, as against telecommunications in Nigeria, we know that telecommunications before used to just be NITEL all through.
Yeah, sure.
So everybody just makes use of NITEL for all communications. That was the days of the cellular and the top call.
Yeah,
but now
sure.
we have a privatized sector where I can select my provider.
Yeah, sure.
I can choose my provider. If I decide that today I don't want to work with the one that says everywhere we go, I can decide to go along with the one that says I can rule my world. And if that does not please me, I can choose anybody. But in the power sector, the minute I find myself in Ondo, I know automatically I'm under the BEDC. If I find myself in Lagos, I can be under IKEDC,
Yeah.
or majorly it's just IKEDC. Same with Ibadan. Same with many other places in Nigeria. Whereas we should be able to select. This is the person I want to be my service provider. This is the person I don't want.
Of course, yeah.
What do you think is wrong with even the move of privatization of the power sector?
Thank you very much. You know why I said, when I said at times we just make policies that work against each other. I think in the ideal sense, under normalcy, the only sector or the only form of business organization that should enjoy power of monopoly should be the public enterprises. It should be the only one to enjoy. So if you are saying, okay, a particular sector, a particular parastatal is going to be privatized, it means we should have different kinds of products that should be close substitute. Organizations or sectors owned by different people performing the same functions. At that point, there will be what we call competition amidst them. Then the law of the consumer will stand in place, the right to choose. I can choose from varieties. But what is happening now? They are still really enjoying the same monopolistic power. If this is not doing me well, I don't have anywhere to go, because I don't have any option. I have to dance to their tune. But if you have different companies who are power distributors, like 3, 4 of them, 5 of them, you know what will happen. Let me take you back to communication sector, like you just actually said. MTN, Glo, this. We have some individuals who actually have all the lines, Airtel, MTN, Glo, this and that.
For different reasons.
From different reasons. And when you look at this place, it's not paying me, they switch back to this. That's the way it should be. I so much believe that as I'm concerned, they are actually enjoying monopolistic power, and that is why they are behaving as such, and they are really making their money. So if actually we are lying down straight into privatization, there should be what? There should be several sectors, there should be several companies who are service providers towards the power sector. And as such, that means I have different decisions to make. I can choose from varieties. Okay, I'm going to patronize you. I'm going to patronize. Oh, yours is too much. Yours and that. And even as such, they will think twice. I don't want to lose customers.
Definitely.
And if they have this mindset, I don't want to lose customers, what comes in?
Do your job well.
Do your job well. Render a very quality service. Make sure your consumers are what? Are satisfied. Let's say look at other advanced countries. There are varieties of power distributors over there. Even there will be a kind of, even to the extent that they will send you a Google questionnaire to ask you if you are really enjoying their services. They will ask you if you see they are really in tune with
very intentional
consumer protection. Very intentional. You have any challenge? You have any complaint about our services? How many times have BDC said, is there any problem? They don't care. Not even talking about the services, even the medium of approach at times is very irritating.
That medium approach, I think, is one of the biggest complaints of many people.
Because the fact remains that we are consumers, we are customers. Without we, you cannot be there. We are the one paying your salaries. The take home, we are the one paying it. So we should enjoy maximum satisfaction. We should be respected. Narrow down from the approach to the quality service you are rendering through for us. But the reverse is the case.
Let's even talk about quality of service majorly, not just in the power sector or any of these sectors. People talked about, even down to television. television stations and maybe the satellite TVs will make use of. People talked about the fact that if you go to other countries, the same satellite TVs actually within our country is not also the same way they treat people. In fact, there are many kind of packages they run on the outside, they don't run on the inside, and it seems even down to I was shocked when I even discovered that even down to things like cement we buy here could even be cheaper and more flexible on the outside than on the inside for even companies that actually resides here. So I don't know. Sometimes someone just made a comment and said, is it that they don't really just value we in this place, other than because it was like this the audacity of the business owners for me.
They're actually taking advantage of the fact that we are not informed, like I said. Number one. Number two, like I told you, those who are supposed to speak for us, parastatals have been set up to serve this purpose. They're not doing their job. With the best of my knowledge, when it comes to electronics, those who are producers, they are very intentional about that. Because of what? The government of other countries. Standardization. Or in Nigeria, you see a producer will just produce something today of less quality and they start selling it. There is no proper scrutiny. The fact remains, as a producer, you can't just produce and say you are. But this is happening. You see somebody at the backyard of his house who just produce a goose that's even very harmful. Now that could not be aware, and they start selling. There is nobody that should serve as a kind of I don't know how to call it, that should serve as a kind of a watchdog for them to see the standard of their products. So that is why Nigeria is so flexible. We're not informed. Everybody just do what he or she likes. The government are not even there to protect the interest of the public. They're not really there. They're not doing their job, and that is why it is happening in our country. That is why they have actually taken us for granted. The fact that we are not informed of our rights and consumers has been taken for granted, and that is why we're being treated anyhow, unlike other countries. Look at the cement you said. I had information truly. The price per bag, other countries, other neighboring countries are cheaper of what this product is being produced here. So it should be cheaper here, going by comparative cost advantage. You produce there, it was locally made. The carriage in what will be lesser. The raw materials are within. Unlike when you are moving out there, import duties and the likes, export duties and the likes, you'll be charged with it. And it's there cheaper. So what is happening? I should believe there should be a regulatory body that oversees prices of commodity. But they're not working. Each time we just hear their names on news and these chairman so, I will ask, what has been doing all this while? It would have been very interesting if there should be a group of panelists whereby all these sectors, the chairman of all these sectors will come. And say they come and give account of stewardship of what they have done so far with evidence.
And they should even permit citizens to even ask questions.
Of course, yes, that should be. You see all these people have failed. They're just burying the name. They're just creating parastatals, appointments. Several. This one has been named chairman of this. In fact, it was even Tinubu regime that started hearing different type of parastatals.
We never knew
these and these. I say, what are they doing? And at times when I make my research, I say this is their duty. I say, are they really performing? They have not done anything of such. They have not done anything of such. These days, you can just produce. Somebody will just produce an electronics, and I don't know where he or she will get the label and just attach. That has been accredited by his son. I think they're the one in charge of standardization.
I'm even the one that saddens me the most is even skincare. I don't know why that's skincare and alcohol, skincare, alcoholic products and all that. You know, the first time before early this year when the whole issue was busted open by a lot of people, I just to tell a friend of mine just came from the UK. All of us went to the bar together. I don't drink majorly. He drinks, and you know they bought one of those shots for him, you know, the Dorime kind of shots and all that. And the next thing, he drank it. He drank over a bottle. I was like, when he got home, it's like, it wasn't that high. And he said, what did you guys put in this you guys drink? Because I can't take more than 4 shots in the United Kingdom and not get drunk. So what's the problem? I was like, I don't really know. if it was something that it was a field I was very familiar with, I would have really. But it's my suspicions. And some said, maybe maybes and all that. Then the next thing, the whole issue burst. It was shocking that a particular company that sells one of the drinks that most of these they term them ballers or odogus, drink majorly in the bars and all that. The company that produces doesn't even produce up to 100 bottles a year. Now, 100 bottles, you find it in, we have over how many countries in the world? So I don't know where we got our own bottles here. You won't see the body in charge of it go after them. Skincare. Many of these people that even does the skincare products, they never studied science in school.
Of course, yes.
They never studied anything related to that course. And they just come today, you see this skincare is a whitening cream. If you go to a place like Lagos today, every 5-10 streets, you might easily find one, if not two people that are involved in that business. Not even in skincare alone, they are now involved in surgeries, surgical, just ladies actually have much alignment with that.
Sure.
I think you can relate with that actually. They want to increase their body size in some areas that is kind of attractive, and things like this happen. You don't see NAFDAC numbers on them. You don't see anybody tackling them. The only people that come out to talk about it, we criminalize them and all that. I don't know whether they are in bed with the authorities or something. But what's your take on the fact that now the NASS has come out to pinpoint some of these things and say they want to tackle it in the country headlong?
You see, I so much believe we have also a parastatals, because one day I know I was fortunate to be in the Federal Secretariat in Akure. Then when I was moving around various offices, there's a program that brought me there now. I was trying to see, I'm in search of some parastatals that serve the purpose of the program I actually want to organize. And I found there's a parastatals research and development. I wouldn't know what they are doing. And I know they are getting their allocations often and often, but I don't know what they are doing. You see one thing, let us go by this way. Would I say 10 years back, all these were not like this? Because these days, if you come online, bam, you see several people advertising their different businesses. Businesses that you cannot even trace where it exists, where they are. And people are booking online. Like these days, it's accessible to buy things online. They will deliver. Meet the nearest, this and that. I have a friend who does that also. While he was in school, he started making these different type of products, enlargement, this and that, this and that, this and that. Agbojedi, this and that. You drink it, you wash away.
Yeah, aphrodisiac.
Which is delivery is going to Ibadan. If you any attach, a lot of things like that. Thank God they are just doing that for survival. Some of these products might be real. Some of these products might be real. They might be good. Just that, because those people want to eat, they want to earn a living. And out of being lucrative, out of diversification, that a white collar job doesn't pay any longer. Side hustle, the way they will call it. That's why they are dabbling into it. One way or the other, I will not blame them. But why I would blame them is the adverse effect on consumers.
Yes.
But those who to be held responsible are this process that has been set up. How do we curb this? That's why I go back to research and development. There should be a way. It's going to be very easy. It's accessible. It's a very good thing. You believe that 90% of, what am I saying? 95% of these people, they are youth. They are young Nigerians who wants to survive because of the harsh economy. Because their leaders has failed them. And they cannot go stealing. They don't want to dabble into crime. And that's why they are coming up with the little ideas. Maybe the little chemistry they did, they want to mix this with this. And before you know it, package. I know of a friend who studied at Greek, a very good friend of mine. I have not taken his product, but a good number of people have seen taking their product. They said the product is working. He's into herb. Well packaged. And he's doing well. Now, I so much believe research and development can actually look for a way of having these people looking into their products, carrying a very vast assessment on their products. When there is need for recommendation or when there is need for support, help them. That is promoting locally made goods, which is these are the things that will cause balance of payments. These are things that will make us have less concentration on imported goods. Because I always advise that we should depend on locally made goods. And people are there trying to come up with something. But what is the duty of the government? Is to help them. Not just helping them make sales alone. Standardization, looking to make sure to ensure that their product does not have any adverse effect on consumers. Because what? We have to uphold the principle of consumers protection. If this is done, yes, all these fake products out there will be wiped away, and those ones who are reasonable there will be a kind of hate for them to standardize it, to package it, to get approval by NAFDAC, and to provide an enabling environment for marketing for them. That would have been best way it should go. Not them giving access, because the loophole is jammed too much that they have easy access, easy and direct access to consumers.
Let me ask a question actually. Do you feel from the power sector, do you feel many of the certificates or the rights of the discos, or maybe their rights to their privatization, do you feel it should be reversed? According to some proposals being made, their license to operate, do you think it should be reversed due to some of the valid points raised, especially if actually they can follow through with the probing of the discos at this particular time? Do you think some of their rights should be their license should be reversed?
Of course it should be. Why? Because the reason behind their operation is not implemented. It's not implemented, and if as such, it should be reversed. The process of reversing it, you call them to order, you have a round table with them. There should be a strict MOU. They should sign a strict MOU. It should be distinctly outlined that the whole idea is what? Is for consumers to be protected. It's for consumers to enjoy to have maximum satisfaction from their product, from their services. At this point in time, thank God, if big wings like Adams or Shomale, they are crying over this, how much more?
How much more
will happen to poor masses? So what is holding? They should call them to order and reverse it, because they have actually failed. The objective and goal behind privatizing most of these sectors has failed. So we're not supposed to fold our hands and be looking at them.
What about the role of
call them to the order?
What about the role of politics and things like this? Sometimes we know many of them.
Thank you very much. It's another big issue. It's another big issue. And if you take your time, if you take maximum attention to what Oshomole said, his presentation, there's a particular aspect of his presentation that has something to do with politics. Of course. Because if not do all this while, they've been hearing several companies now, they fold their arms, they're watching. I'm not even surprised if our so-called leaders are those who even bought most of these sectors.
That's one other truth.
There might be ghost owners.
Ghost owners, yeah.
On a more serious note, it happens like that. It happens as far as Nigeria is concerned. So that's why the mess was going viral to the peak. If not, they would have been called to order. I don't know if you are very much aware about the recent happening in Edo State, when former governor of Edo State, Obaseki, summoned the woman in charge of BDC. It's either he summoned or he walked her out of the office due to what? Poor service delivery. How many of our leaders can actually do that? And that's the point. That is the point. You see, the generality of this mess, like I said in the first place, is that those we are looking up to, who happens to be our leaders, those we have actually elected for our own interest, they are not really doing their job. And that is why all these private sectors are actually doing what they like. It baffles me, it's very painful, seeing common man who is not a legislator, like very dark man, just a mere activist, fighting for poor masses in that way. And those who are supposed to do that fold their hands and watch. It's not irritating. It shows that clearly that they're not doing their job. If not, it shouldn't be the one holding all these people responsible. They should be the one doing that.
But do you think, just like, because we know definitely one man cannot just do all things at the same time, we need more people to come out.
Of course, yes.
We can see a senator come out today and talk about it. We can see another senator trying to sponsor a bill towards that, to enforce the law. And many people have talked about implementations of Nigeria, but pending the time when the implementations come, which sometimes, well, it's always a 50-50 thing, except it has become a matter that becomes very trendy and very serious. Do you think that more citizens can also rise in support to also, vocalize about many acts of exploitation by private business owners in Nigeria?
Of course, yes. That is what is expected of us. It has gotten to this point because for a while, for a very long period of time, we kept mute. It should happen. And we should look shy away from this attitude of your own is to you, the habit of your own is too much. That. Let us collaborate and fight against all these things. Because it doesn't happen to you, it may happen to your children in the future. So it's better we fight it now. It's better we do. An issue like this at the chambers, I don't expect the implementation to take time. It should not take longer. They are facts. It should not take a long process. It should be ratified and the implementation should be done as soon as possible.
But
then what matters most is this. There are several implementations that have been, and there are several policies that have been implemented. Yes, they have been implemented, they have been enacted. But practically, Nigerians are not informed. That boils down to part of the roles of our lawmakers, our representatives. I can't remember when last our leaders who are actually representing us at the Green Chamber, at the Red Chamber, comes back home for a town hall meeting.
Not even a town hall, just even a town hall that would just.
No, the best should be a town hall. They should come back to the constituency and educate us. Educate us based on, because good number of us doesn't have access to what is happening at the Red Chamber. Good number of us, they should come back. If there's a way they will split it, they can form a group. It's very easy, a sensitization group in their various constituency. There's a policy that just be enacted. Please enlighten people of this. Look at what happened during the saga of COVID-19. Look at several enlightenment that was going on. They should do the same. By doing this,
maybe because it's pandemic and it's what's going on.
Of course, that is the part. That is the part. By doing this, no, it will. Okay, look at the issue of when although it concerns our younger ones who are into cybercrime. You see, even a primary six old boy cannot release his phone to a police officer to check, because he will tell you you have been asked not to check phone again. Look at how viral that one went fast, because it affects them. So when policies are being implemented, when laws are being enacted, they should come down to sensitize the masses. If that sensitization is done, let's see when one PCN or BDC officials will come and say, contribute money and buy this. How many times have we gone to their office to make a very serious protest? How many times? Then if at all, I know there was a particular year that youth in Ondo here went there. What happened afterwards? So that is that. It shows there are still political elements that is giving these people a kind of courage to do what they like. And that is not an excuse. No matter how the political elements are, the voice of the masses should be heard. It's very powerful. Just that the masses do not know how powerful their voices are. They don't know.
We don't know where the majority are.
They don't know where the majority. That is the point.
Think we are in
because when they do, you start seeing silent distraction. Probably their grandma, don't go, they will get you arrested, this and that. By the time you start seeing people, even you that is trying to pull up the weight, fight for them, you look at your back, you don't see anybody again. And that is the problem we have in Nigeria.
Well, that's just one of the sad truths actually, and it's sad that these things are actually happening. Well, I wish I could ask more questions, but our time is fast spent actually. But for people out there, we always know that actually there are key consumer protection laws in Nigeria, and aside from the fact that we have key consumer protection, which I have already said, actually we have enforcement mechanisms. So it's not just very dark man that should be fighting for as many people as possible. Cool. We have the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the FCCPC. We have the Consumer Protection Council, the CPC. We have the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, that is NAFDAC actually, which is quite the most popular amongst all, even though recently people have always complained that their jobs are not being done. This one is kind of underrated, the Nigerian Communications Commission. Many of you don't know sometimes you have a right to the kind of information you even receive, even the kind of songs they sing, the kind of advertisement that should be heard to you, the kind of contents and the kind of cinematic stuffs to be shown to you. There are some people that can't even take some kind of photosensitive pictures because they're actually photosensitive. But then it's just one of those things that are happening there. Well, in KAFTAN, we are just giving you this free information just to ensure that you yourself, even when the government is not doing their part totally in the place of implementation, the rights have already been stated. You have a right to this, and these are the bodies that can help you, you know, to ensure that your rights are protected. Once again, thanks so much, sir, for being a part of this segment. Really
Thank you very much.
You. But then it's time to say our goodbyes on Daybreak Africa. I hope you enjoyed every segment of Daybreak Africa today. Tomorrow it promises to be more exciting, as I'm very sure the topic of tomorrow is going to be very, very much interesting to many of you out there. But then till we meet tomorrow, I have just to say goodbye to you today and still appeal to you to keep watching KAFTAN television as we bring you more exciting, you know, discussions, programs today itself. So till we meet tomorrow, my name is Ikhonede Joshua Adeji.
I am Ogbe Esther. Bye.
Bye.